Safety, job security, decent pay and benefits, respect and dignity. These are the goals of the American Postal Workers Union. And they have been the goals of postal workers across the United States for more than 100 years. It is only through many decades of struggle that postal workers have won the rights and benefits we enjoy today. The story of our union goes back to 1874, when the Railway Mail Mutual Benefit Association was formed to help railway clerks secure an affordable life insurance plan. The MBA went further, though, attempting to lobby for better wages and working conditions. Soon after, through grassroots activity, one of the first employee organizations, the National Association of Post Office Craftsmen, was formed, to be followed by several other organizations. Many of these early craft associations were temporary committees. They formed and raised money when there was a special need, usually to send a spokesperson to Washington to lobby at the Capitol. Postal workers were in a unique situation compared to their counterparts in private sector unions. They didn't bargain across the table from an employer. They had to make their case in the halls of Congress. In 1886, amid a wave of worker activism that swept the country, a convention of postal clerks put forth a very ambitious agenda: the 8-hour day, 15 days of vacation, and the creation of salary classifications. But after 4 years of lobbying in Washington, only the vacation provision was approved. Still, postal worker representatives continued to appear before Congress with increasing frequency. And while they usually failed to achieve the union's goals, their actions had another unintended consequence. As postal workers became more visible in stating their views, they attracted the attention and ire of the Postal Department and some members of Congress. In 1895, Postmaster William L. Wilson announced that any postal employee who visited Congress to influence its decisions, even if the worker did so on his own time, could be fired. Wilson's order unleashed a firestorm of debate within the employee organizations, which were also grappling with the question of whether supervisors should be allowed in the union. For much of the 20th century, the federal government kept tight clamps on postal workers engaging in any kind of political activity. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt issued an executive order, his infamous gag order, barring all federal employees from trying to influence government officials regarding their pay and benefits. Later, this restriction was tightened further by the notorious Hatch Act. It wasn't until 1993, the first year of Bill Clinton's presidency, that the Hatch Act was finally overturned, and postal employees were able to exercise the rights enjoyed by other American workers. In October 1900, Chicago postal workers met informally at the back fence of the old temporary post office near Lake Michigan, indignant after being forced to work an 18-hour shift with no overtime pay. Two momentous decisions were made: to seek affiliation with the AFL and to form a national union of postal clerks. Within weeks, American Federation of Labor President Samuel Gompers approved their request to join and issued a charter to the Chicago Clerks Union, making it the first union of federal employees to affiliate with the AFL. It took another 6 years for the Chicago clerks to achieve their second goal. A call was issued to all AFL unions of postal clerks to meet for a national convention in Chicago on August 27, 1906. Union leaders converged from 6 cities: Chicago, Milwaukee, Louisville, Nashville, San Francisco, and Salt Lake City. Altogether, they represented more than 1,000 postal employees. They formed a new organization, the National Federation of Post Office Clerks. Because the organization's locals hailed from different cities that were as far apart as San Francisco and Nashville, this is considered truly the birth of a national postal workers union. Their plan took guts and vision. In those days, workers who were active in unions risked losing their jobs. Union leaders were routinely harassed and even jailed. It was not until 1935 that private sector workers won federal legislation protecting the right to collectively bargain. And it would take years more and a groundbreaking strike for postal employees to win that right. The APWU celebrates its centennial this year because it traces its origin to the 1906 gathering that created the NFPOC. Chicago, host to the historic convention, is Local 1 of the APWU. Our roots and our hearts clearly go back to these brave workers who met in Chicago 100 years ago. It often took Congress years to approve pay increases, meaning that postal workers were chronically underpaid. In 1906, for example, most postal employees earned between $600 and $1,000 a year. Some earned as little as $200 a year. Benefits, safety problems, and working conditions were also important concerns. Postal workers wanted a voice on the job, and they found it by forming a variety of organizations. Workers organized in all the crafts: clerks, mechanics, maintenance workers, drivers, special delivery messengers. Their many organizations often disagreed on tactics and strategies, but they shared a common belief that all postal employees deserve to be treated with respect and be compensated fairly for the work they do.